Welcome to the Living Spiritfully podcast, Heart to Heart edition. Here's your host for today, Paul Galloro.
Hello, lovers. Welcome to Heart to Heart. This is Paul Galloro. I am so thrilled for our guest today because we are meeting with fitness royalty today. Melanie Levenberg is our guest today, and I'm so excited. Some of you may recognize Melanie's name if you've been listening to the podcast the last couple of weeks, where I've played my acceptance speech, not once, but twice. Melanie is the Fitness Professional of the Year from 2022 that actually passed the crown on to me. And I'm so thrilled to be here with Melanie today to have this conversation. Melanie is a physical education teacher, a TEDx presenter, author, and an international keynote speaker. Applying best practices in positive thinking, personal development, fitness, health, and physical education, Melanie creates play physical literacy programs to inspire kids to get active as they claim their bubble of awesome, which I want to know all about, and live the 3 rules of play. Be positive, be fun, be yourself. Melanie Levenberg, welcome to Heart to Heart. I love that you're here.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I have always loved your energy. I have loved everything that you have done. And to be able to pass on the crown to you, it was such an honor. And to be invited on this podcast is also such an honor. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for being here. Honestly, I love you. I remember, I don't remember if we met before, but I remember last year, so 2022 at the presenter party. I'm not sure if we met before that, but I remember seeing your name around because you've been doing the kid fitness thing for a while. Because I remember when I was doing yoga for kids, that was a past life, and we'll have a sidebar about talking about working with kids later. Yeah. But
I know if you feel it's okay.
but yeah, I remember of you, and then meeting you last year. I was like, oh man, I love you so much. And then last year you were crowned Fitness Professional of the Year, which is so cool. And now here we are, passing the crown on. I love it.
You're the first person who's ever called it crowned. And I only want to call it crown. So I've been doing this for a year all along. I've been saying honored. I was honored. I received. I'm like, why? I was crowned.
Exactly.
I need to do it all over again. I'm going to apply for 2024. I feel like I lost out on the year here. Okay.
Well, you know what? Moving forward now, you can say I was crowned in 2022. So Melanie, so glad that you're here. And let's dive right in. Tell me, my love, how is your heart?
Oh, that's a great question. My heart is so happy because I get to talk to you today. I'm actually physically in Chicago because I've been traveling for a week, where I have been able to work with physical education teachers, before and after school programmers, nutritionists, people who work with kids all across the state of Indiana. And that's why my voice is like this. But I have to recognize that we're still coming out of the pandemic, meaning that it's still taken systemically professional development spaces a while to recover. And so just now am I getting back to in-person workshops and meeting people and working with them and getting to teach and to hear their passion and to equip them. And then seeing them have light bulb moments and walk away knowing that they're now going to be equipped to work with kids better. Not because they know more, but because they almost feel more confident in themselves. It's kind of like their passion's refueled. It keeps me up at night out of joy, out of happiness. And there's just this sense of total fulfillment that comes from that kind of work. So really, this is a great time to be talking about my heart because it is overflowing with just fulfillment and joy and purpose, feeling sometimes you do things in life that you're not sure why you did them. And this is the kind of work that makes me feel like I'm on purpose. So I designed a business where I get to be on purpose. And I don't know if anyone who's listening, and I know you're a small business owner too. Sometimes in business, we get lost in the business stuff. And those days aren't as fun as the days when you're in service to your clients. So my heart is very, very happy right now because it's been a week full of all the good parts of the business, the fun parts, the most fulfilling parts of the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've been watching some of your things on the Instagram. I love your energy when you're presenting. I love you can tell, and this is why you're on the podcast, is you can tell that like the love is like pouring into you, spirit is pouring into you, and then it's just erupting out of you, and you're sharing that with the world. I love, love, love that. And with kids, right? Like,
yeah,
the children are our future.
Adults. Like, I know that children are important, and they are my purpose. I know that. Funnily enough, side tangent, let's go on it right now. I checked into my rental car place here in Chicago when I landed, and the guy was checking me in, and he's putting in my company email. We were just talking about this before we signed on. So my business is called Play, but I spell it PL3Y. And so he goes, "Why is there a 3 in there?" And I was like, "Oh, it's actually, it's a kids fitness brand. And, there's 3 rules that kids have to follow: be positive, be fun, be yourself." It goes, "Oh, you work with kids? Oh, so that's why there's a 3, because it's like the number for children." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm a numerologist." And
wow.
It's like alignment. He's like, "Of course, ABC 1, 2, 3, 3 is the number for children." I was like, "I had no idea." So it was, "When are you born?" So of course we go through like the whole, he did my numerology, and apparently I'm like, my life purpose is to work with children. I had no idea. So like, I just got this information now, and it was like validating and reassuring. And whenever you hear that information, but I have always known my purpose is to work with children. However, I've also known that it wasn't directly to work with them. It was to work with adults who will then empower children. So it was just, it's really cool how like, when you can be on purpose, like there's like these synchronicities and alignments that come, and these messages that we keep getting that you're on the right path.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love that. So now since we're on this tangent, when's your birthday?
My birthday is March 9th.
Okay. March 9th. So you are a Pisces.
Pisces, yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Awesome. I mean, we could go into the whole astrology thing, but we won't. Do you know, do you pay attention to astrology at all? Do you know your big 3?
No, I don't actually. I discovered something called human design. So that's something that really aligned with me. So I'm like quite a human design focused. I use it in my business coaching, in my life, in my parenting. But I love astrology. And I actually like not knowing about it, because I like not knowing a system, so that I can receive information differently. Because sometimes how do you view the chart? What are you reading? Like now that I know human design, I love receiving other modalities to feel what feels like I'm in alignment, and to maybe discover curiosities about what else I could explore in myself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. Okay. So at another point, we'll do a birth chart for you, because I'd love to know your big 3 to see. Well, and the reason why I love this is not because it is going to help me define someone, but it helps me kind of place in my mind where all that stuff that you're doing comes from somewhere. Right. Anyways, that's the fascinating thing for me. So, all right, let's talk about, first of all, this bubble of awesome. Can we just touch on that for a second? Because I think that's the cutest thing.
For sure. So the concept is going back to purpose. So I tell people I'm an undercover ninja. I didn't go into kids fitness because I wanted them to move. When I discovered that my purpose, and I had something to do on this planet, I wanted kids to remember how awesome they are. And I really did a lot of this came from personal development sessions. And I was like, what is it that I have to give to the world? And what do I feel like I want to do? And if I could do one thing, is to help children when they are in their 0 to 18, tap into knowing what their awesomeness is, because they know it. Most children exist in that. But as we get older and experiences happen, unfortunately, children kind of forget. The older we get, the more experiences we have, we tend to forget how awesome we are. And awesome is actually a word, and I am not religious, but I discovered this because I work with a lot of different religions, and it doesn't, you don't have, anyone can come to these classes, but the word awesome is actually in the Bible, because it's literally like spirit, it's source, it's like your awesomeness, like this power that's inside of you, whatever and however you connect to that with whatever words or religions or whatever, but there is something that is inside of you that lights you up, your light. And I want kids to know that, and to trust that, and to remember that. So I move with them. And then when they move at the end, everything, like movement has dissolved energies around them. They're not even thinking, they're more in their bodies. And so at the end of the class, they put their hands out and they say as loud as they can, I am awesome. And literally in that moment, I can feel their hearts burst open. Like I can feel it. I can watch videos of it and I still have the goosebumps. So we teach kids that it's a space all around their body where they get to be the most awesome version of themselves. And their job is to stay inside their bubble and also to throughout the whole class, move in a way that feels good for them, show their style, show their personality, and just kind of like whatever they're doing, they can't get it wrong. So it's a space where they can't get it wrong. And then through movement, we get them to, sweat, we get them to play, we get them to interact with each other, and then they get to claim that bubble at the end. So it's so powerful.
Oh, like I am feeling this in my body as you're speaking. This is super exciting. Like the coolest thing. I am like, I would almost work with children again because this is how excited I am right now.
I could get you back when I told you about my behind the scenes undercover ninja work. I'm like a super like woo-woo person. And people are like, they're like, oh yeah, a bubble of awesome. Like, but there's so much woo-woo behind what I do. And I don't approach it that way. And I think that was one of the detriments I felt in children's not fitness, because fitness can be like very like go to CrossFit with your parents, but like people who are heart-centered, who want to work with children, tend to communicate from the heart-centered place, and most parents aren't ready or looking for that for their child. So I had to find the balance of what does a parent looking for. They're looking for a dance class that's not a studio class. They're looking for a playful yoga class. They're looking for fun fitness for my kids, and then we deliver to the children something that has so much more depth and meaning, and we don't have to use that in our marketing. We just, kind of, it's there. You just read it, but they're like, "Oh, bubble of awesome sounds so fun."
Yeah,
let's do this program. Yeah.
How did you get into this? Were you a teacher before? What's the journey that brought you to creating play?
Oh, physical education teacher, and I played sports my whole life. I became a PE teacher, and the pathway was actually that I was assigned to teach dance, and I was terrified of dance. And I was like, I don't do dance. Can't I just call the studio? And they're like, no, like the local studio to come teach hip hop. And so I had been a fitness instructor, and I had started to use some of the skills that I had learned in the fitness industry, different modalities, different teachers. And then I started to play with the notion of how do we play with dance in physical education? Because there's so many rules of dance. And when you think about how we teach sports to kids, we don't teach rules to kids in PE. We teach them about movement. So they learn about sports by playing with modified versions of that sport. So I'm like, well, why is it when it comes to dance, we go right to the rules? Stand in line, left foot, right foot. And so I started to play with this notion. And I started running workshops at teachers' conventions and teachers' conferences. And the teachers were like, this is awesome. Can you do a weekend workshop and to teach us more on it? So I would do that. And then eventually those weekend workshops, I was traveling to Montreal and Ottawa and Toronto, Vancouver, and it became busy enough that I was like, you know what, I'm going to launch into my own business and like launch this. And so along the way, I also went to New Zealand and I learned body jam because I was so terrified of teaching dance and choreography. And I was like, I'm going to do the scariest possible thing, which is learn the body jam system. I liked how they had prepackaged fitness. And I was like, I kind of want to do that for kids. I went and I studied and I learned so many skills. Oh my gosh, body jam. I mean, the Les Mills systems is an amazing system. And so then I launched my own business, and now I provide the prepackaged programs. And it's an influence of a lot of different modalities and things that I've learned in the fitness industry, in the physical education world, kind of all coming together in like a smoldering pot of, what I can now bring with my lens to children.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You had said something earlier that something, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it was along the lines of like, sometimes we don't know why we're doing what we do, but then all of a sudden it just all comes together. And I feel like I'm at a point right now where I've done a bunch of different things. And now I'm like, this is how they all come together. And it's through fitness, because very similar with how you're working with children, trying to keep them connected to their awesome. I'm trying to remind adults that they have that, right? That it's within them, and all you got to do is just kind of soften and let it come through and then live in that space. So that's really cool. What were those were all the different things that you did that then you kind of put them together?
Yes.
And that to me is an artist right there, because it's working with the things that you have, the tools that you have to create a masterpiece. And I'm telling you, girl, what you've got going on with play is like brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you. I love it. I appreciate it. And I just, anyone listening who, if you are called to create something that is of your own, whether it's a local class, once a week thing that you do that's just like your own little mishmash, or to package it and to have other people teach it, just follow that, because it's not everyone who has that calling. And they don't so many fitness professionals are like, oh, but other people have done it before, or I don't think I can do it, or like, why would people follow my thing? If you're called to do it, it means you've got something to share that is your own lens, your own unique spin on it, your own spice, your own thing. And that matters, because if you're getting the nudge to do it, it means that someone out there needs to hear it through your flavor. Because anyone can go to anyone's yoga class, anyone can go to anyone's dance class. There's, it's not like fitness is only one thing. It's fitness to the flavor of the instructor, and that's what matters most. So that's a permission. If someone's listening, just keep following those urges, those nudges, those, like, oh, it'd be so good to do that. Yes, go for it.
Oh my God. Okay. So first of all, I needed to hear that. So thank you for that. Again, there you are, ninja. So let's talk a little bit about like your accomplishments so far. I mean, you've just creating play is an accomplishment within itself. But you have done so many amazing things. And I kind of just, if we can talk about that for a second, because this will lead into our conversation about Fitness Professional of the Year, which we'll get to.
Sure.
But let's talk about some of the things that you've accomplished, not just in the year prior to and during your reign as Fitness Professional of the Year, but let's talk about like all of it. What are some of your greatest accomplishments?
Oh, like, listen, we're talking about life here. Greatest accomplishment is being married, staying married, having a child, like raising a child, I think are like a thing.
Yeah.
I'm proud of my businesses. So over the years, I've launched over 20 businesses. Some of them I closed out of, I'm just done with this. Some of them I sold to other people. Some of them were terrible breakups and they were not pretty. And I'm proud of myself for continuing to just follow the nudges and create something out of it, but also being able to let it go when it no longer serves me. So I think that some of my like accomplished, like, and it's like, yeah, there's the things. It's like I was on the TEDx stage and my programs are recognized by the, US Physical and Health Education Association best practice, like it's called Shape America for PE, and on Canadian systems, and the International Physical Literacy Conference. All of those things are all wonderful. But I think the older that I get and the more life that I've experienced, the things that I'm most proud of is staying true to myself. And in any context, whether that's a parent, a marriage, a business, a class, whatever it is, just that's becoming where I'm focusing my gratitude and celebrations of the things that I'm doing, because I think that's the skill that actually matters more than any crown we might receive, even though they are wonderful to wear.
It's true. And I love that. Thank you for that, because there's a lot of times, especially so going through the Fitness Professional of the Year process, you got to sit down and look at your accomplishments. And it's something, I mean, there was both sides that I was looking at it. There was the numbery bit of, all that stuff. But there also was the who was I in those moments? Who am I as I'm doing these things? Because when I look, like, I also feel for myself personally, I'm in this kind of, I feel like I've been given a second chance, because for a moment I walked away from being in fitness, right? I was like, I am done. And then I went to the spiritual side. I was in the yoga communities and the wellness centers. And then even there, but something drew me back to fitness anyway. And so I feel like I'm in this resurgence, this second chance, but I'm loving the person I am. I'm not doing anything different than I was doing before, but the person I am is different. The way I'm showing up, how I'm approaching it, how I'm like, not getting swept up in certain things, and how I'm putting myself forward in other things is just, that's what I'm like really proud of for myself. So to hear you say that, I'm like, yes, okay, I totally get it.
Absolutely. I love that. I also left fitness and came back. I wonder if that's what they're doing. They're bringing us back in, but I think that is you just nailed it on the head. It's the evolution of you that, and you recognizing that you have evolved, and that, and I mean, I've seen you over the years, because I knew you were in Good Life, right? You're in the Good Life system. Yeah. So I knew of you probably the same way that you knew of me, but differently. And I think that I never approached you. Like, I think we like smiled and said hi, but like we said hi last year. It was last year.
Yeah.
With like a genuine hug. Like we were like, we'd like not seen each other in 20 years, but I feel like it's because we're more heart-centered now. You know, like I really, and I think that that's what matters. I think that that's because people say the same thing about you as you said about me. Like, and I believe that. Like, I love your energy. Like, you walk into a room with your like heart first, and it just brings people at ease and makes people feel at home and connected. And I think that that's what matters. Like, that's the lasting effects that we leave. So, I hope that you continue to celebrate that.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know what? I've come, you know, so. If we can just talk about me for a second. It was actually like, I've always felt this way, but for whatever reason, before I felt like I had to, you know, shrink it or compact it or kind of like, you know, reserve it. But now I'm just like, no, here I am. It's like bursting out of me. I don't even know why. I'm just showing up and it's pouring out. You know what I mean? So thank you for all of that. I
feel that. I saw that. Like, now that we're connecting the dots, I'm like, no, I could feel that. I could, and yes, I love it.
Yeah, thank you. You know, so in 2015, I won Specialty Presenter of the Year at CanFit Pro at the opening ceremonies. And it was like, after that, I kind of freaked out. In all honesty, I was like, oh shit, I didn't feel prepared. I didn't even feel like I deserved that. I'm like, how did this even happen? And I think I panicked in that moment and I tripped over myself, which I mean, as I reflect, that was the moment that I needed to kind of remove myself from fitness for a second, be like, okay, girl, what are you doing here? Like, you have this huge responsibility. I felt like I was a little too casual with the opportunities that I was given, with the voice that I had and the stage that I was on. I didn't understand the responsibility of it back then. And I don't mean that in like a hard, stern kind of, I didn't realize how important it was and what it meant for me to be up there and people listen and stuff. So I needed that time to kind of reflect. And, you know, it was after the pandemic, CanFit Pro reached out to me and they were like, hey, can you do this thing on mental health? They had a virtual mental health week. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can. But also I feel this call, like you said about that. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I just know I need to say something here. And that was kind of the like reintroduction back into the fitness world. And then it was then that I started to feel like I belong here and I can start speaking and I know what I'm talking about, and all of the voices from before kind of melted away. But it was because I was like, I gotta share this with people. I can't just keep it to myself.
Absolutely. And I have to recognize also, just a little space here, that the industry has transformed.
Yes.
Significantly.
Yes.
Like, I left fitness because I could no longer align with what was being sold and marketed as the main message. That was my reason for leaving. I could not do it anymore. It was a dissonance in vibration.
Yeah.
And so with the pandemic, and I started to step back into the space virtually, because I was like, I won't go in person, but I'll do it virtually. Yeah. I started hearing and seeing, and like, I can give a shout out to Mo Hagan, you know, just like in the Canadian fitness industry as a leader, and the spaces that got created and the presenters that they're bringing in and the focus that they're bringing. It is not the same fitness industry that we were working in 10 years ago. It is so different, and it is ready for more heart-centered realness. And I am so proud to be a fitness professional. And I'm not going to lie, a while ago, I left because I was ashamed of being a fitness professional. I really was. Wow. That's why I stepped into the kids space. You know, it was like physical education, not fitness. And now I'm so proud to be, especially the Canadian fitness industry, like to be aligned with what we stand for. So, and I'm so proud that you're also now, you know, the reigning queen of that, you know.
Well, like, Mo's the queen. I named her the queen.
That's true.
I'm the princess.
But to take that and to have that platform with a leader like you and all of your expertise, like, the time is now. People are ready, and you've got your platform. I know we're going to talk about what I did and advice for you, but this is my advice is to take that stage. It has been built slowly over time. Now is the best time. You are right on time, and don't hold anything back. We've been preparing for this because this is your moment.
Yeah. Thank you. You know what? I'm ready to shine. I've never been more ready. In fact, I'm actually like, I feel like I've been even like reorganizing my home, to reflect how I'm feeling, but then also like to support my now, whatever this next year brings, of doing all the stuff that I feel drawn to do, which is pretty cool. So let's talk about your experience though. So you're sitting in the closing ceremonies last year, and we don't know what's happened. Like, we just know we made top 3. We're sitting there. They give us some like pointers of what's going to happen, but you don't know until your name is called. So you're sitting there, they're naming the top 3, and then they say, and the winner is Melanie Levenberg. Take me back to that moment.
Okay, listen. We talk about woo. I manifested that moment a year before. I was actually at Tony Robbins' event, Date with Destiny, or one of the things, and they were like, imagine your year, imagine what it's going to be. I had only just started reteaching fitness, started because I moved to Whistler during the pandemic, started teaching local adult classes, and I was like, I forgot what I'm all about. This is great. I love it. And I got a nudge. I wasn't even that involved in in the Canadian fitness industry at that time. I was just teaching local classes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to be Canadian's Fitness Instructor of the Year. Like, I'm going to do it in December of 2021. I wrote that in a book, and I'm like terrible. People like, write it down and then look at it every day. Wrote it down. I completely forgot about it. Didn't think about it. It's May. I get an email from Canfit Pro, because I had started to work with them. I had actually contacted them unrelated to this. Maybe subconsciously it was, but I was like, hey, you've got a kids fitness course. So from a business strategic perspective, I wanted to help them revamp their children's fitness course, because I create kind of the same exact thing, but I'm like, to me, it's not competition. I'm like, if they go to Canfit Pro to get the information from me, awesome. If they come to my business, awesome. I genuinely wanted to serve. And so I was just like, I want to help make your package better, your programs better. So I had started to work with a team, and they're like, hey, you should apply for this. So literally on the last day, in the last minute, I went on and I filled in a nomination form, so last minute,
yeah.
And then, but when I had gone through the process, so then you're in top 3, you have to prepare the videos, you got to get all the things, and I'm getting the things. And from that moment until the moment on stage, I was like, I'm winning this thing. And every single moment, every morning, I would wake up and I would visualize myself sitting in a chair and I'm saying my name. And I'm like, what do I need to do in order to make that happen every single day? As I was preparing my videos, I'm like, how do I communicate what I do with the videos? How do I get people to talk about what I do? And who do I need to connect with? And what is my purpose? How does this help me make a bigger impact on the planet? How will this, feel for me? How will this look like for me? And I connected to the emotions that I would feel beyond the award. I connected to the emotions I would feel when I received it. So in that moment, I was actually woo-woo talk, sitting there, literally I was channeling. I was calm, and I was just waiting for them to call my name. And, whether it's manifested or whatever it is, I just know that I was on purpose every step of the way towards that name calling. That was kind of like crossing the finish line in a way. So take that for however you are. I know that we're in a more spiritual space with your crew, and that I can talk about it that way. And just I was so surprised. In a way, I can't lie, I wasn't surprised. I was more just like, oh yes, here you are. I love expecting great moments to come to my life. And when they arrive, I'm just like, I've been expecting you. You're here. I'm so grateful and so happy. And, it wasn't that I didn't have that excitement. I did, but it was like that moment beforehand. I was just more like, you're going to say my name and then it's going to be amazing. So yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So thank you for that, because I didn't do it. It didn't work the exact same way for me. That's not how it played out, but there was moments within me when I just knew. I was like, I got the email actually in May when I received the first email. I was like, well, I put my phone down and I walked away from it. I'm like, there's no way, there's a mistake. I was teaching 2 classes a week at the time. I just really didn't think anything of it, and I pushed it aside. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, let's see. And then as I was doing every step, I was like, whether it happens or not, I'm putting my whole self forward. I just felt like, but then as we got closer, I'm like, I don't know, this seems like something is like, this is, I don't know. I see my name on that. And then I just started to think about it. And then I was like, remembering what it was like to be on the stage the first time. And I was like, okay, well, what would it be like this time?
Yeah.
And then that's why also too, I kind of knew and I wanted to make the most out of the moment. So I had a speech prepared because again,
Did they
like
tell you to do a speech? They told us to do a speech.
they said to have it, but like I was like, okay, the first thing I'm going to say, like I had notes, I brought them up, they were in my pocket. Like I knew I wasn't going to just sit there and have a list of names. Like I knew there was a message, and
you had a message. I was so proud of you. I was like, this is no, but that's what happens when you know, like, because I was one of the people, there's like a huge committee of people who select, and you, one of the criteria is who will be a great advocate for the fitness industry. It's not like who answered all the questions correctly or did the most. That is a part of it, but then there's also that like analysis of like who will be the best representation of the, and then when you stood up there and you delivered that speech, it's like you started the responsibility of your reign immediately. You know, it was just like you inspired what you just were yourself, and you did what you do as a representative of the fitness industry, which is so, it was so beautiful to see.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And you know what? I have to say, it's an honor to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like, you know, because you're experiencing it, but
Sure.
to be able to like stand there and be like, I don't know, it just like it feels like I've been given the most wonderful gift and I can share it with so many people. I feel like Oprah.
Yeah, amazing. And go give permission to like everyone to, you know, your message, you know, be more yourself, your shirt, your t-shirt that you wear, like that, you know, because we have be ourselves. So but I feel like that's the message that more fitness professionals need to hear. There's so many package programs and fitting into boxes, but I think if people are fitness leaders and they're called to move with people and they're stressed out about the details that don't matter, and they aren't showing up fully as themselves for their participants, then it's not, they're not living that true purpose that brought them to the plate in the first, you know, and does that make sense? That brought them to they're in the first place. Like plate is not the word. And I also want to just recognize right now that you and I both were not teaching, like, it's not about who's teaching 58 classes a week.
Yeah.
This is about being a professional and being a leader. Like, you know, if you are supporting one other human being, it doesn't have to be like thousands of human beings, but supporting other fitness leaders, you know, is a big part of this award. Is like, it's about being a leader of other leaders in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And I think that,
Well, thank you for that, because that was actually one of the things where I was like, can I even do this? Like, at the club that I'm teaching at, I'm, you know, my class, my very first class, I had one person. She actually came in and saw me. She's like, oh, I thought it was a virtual class. And I'm like, no, I'm a real person. But then I grew those numbers, and those numbers are still like, it's above the average, but it's not like the most popular class. So I'm like, I don't know, people come to my class, but, you know, but like you said, it's not about that. It's about, going back to what I said earlier, it's about who are you when you show up to teach that class or to lead that experience. And
now having assessed, like having seen how they assess, anyone who's thinking about it, that they're not just assessing those 4 domains that are on the criteria where you think that you're going to be compared numbers wise to other people who's most popular. They're assessing the person and who you are and the impact you're making. They are assessing the person. So there is that criteria. They want great people representing, you know, holding this title. And I think that's, you know, it was really cool to see both sides of it now.
Yeah, totally. What did you learn about yourself going through that process, and also during your year? Like, what were some of the big whoa moments for you that you learned?
I still have, well, I was gonna say, I learned that I still, as much as I have accolades, I don't like talking about them. It was the hardest thing to do, was make that video about yourself to position yourself. I learned that at the end of it all, and like I heard you say, you know, whether I win or not, like that still goes, no matter what, at the end of the day, if I go to bed and I've made an impact on whatever my calling is, I'm going to be okay. Like I don't need any of the things that I had, like we said, those accomplishments don't really matter. They're lovely, they're amazing, it's special, and it's a great to celebrate. And at the end of the day, what matters to me is that I live my life on purpose, that I love, that I help people feel better, that there's a resounding effect in them that helps them feel lighter, happier when they leave interactions with me, whether that's a barista at a coffee shop, kids in my fitness classes, instructors that I work with, podcast people. It doesn't matter, is that is the guiding factor. So it reminded me that that's what I actually cared the most about, really.
Oh, yeah. Oh, see, I love it. This is why we're soulmates. I just like everything that you're saying. I'm like, yes, I finally, two things. Now I feel like there's language finally for how I've been feeling inside. And also like I have permission, because a lot of the stuff that you're saying, I'm like, oh, I feel that too, but can I feel that? Like, can I feel like, yes, I knew that this was something that had my name on it.
Yes.
And yeah, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that. I love that. So what are you working on now? So like within your year, you did a lot of great things. I saw, because actually your program is accredited by CanFit. Tell me about the relationship with Play and CanFit Pro.
So we've been accredited, like people can get CECs from our instructor training courses. They've been able to do that since 2012. But we just became a preferred education partner. So we have a partnership with CanFit Pro where basically there's like shared profit in our programs whenever they get taught. So that was like a kind of more established business relationship. And, a part of that came from people like, how did you do it? How did you get into CanFit Pro? Like I came in with service first. I was like, I will redo your children's fitness program for free. I will, like, I didn't get paid to do it. I have no profit attachment to it. So right now in my world, and I would like to recognize this, is that I am not just a fitness professional. Like people, see the life, like you live in Whistler, you own a house there, ski, you travel, we travel a lot, my wife and I and my daughter. And I wanted people to know that I don't just do fitness. Like, I don't want people to have the assumption that by just teaching fitness, that's how we have the life that we have.
Right.
We have multiple businesses. And right now I'm in an analysis phase, or I was in a few months ago, saying which business needs the most love and care. And the kids fitness business is where, throughout the pandemic, we went virtually online, and it kind of was business as usual. And I didn't focus on it because I was focusing on other businesses that we were working on. And my focus right now is Play. It is relaunching professional development workshops, in-person instructor trainings, and equipping more leaders to be out there and kind of like wanting to build out more people who are equipped to work with kids and who are working with kids. And people are like, well, wasn't that your business for the last 10 years? It was. We had a huge push for 5 years. And then we really had like this community that was rolling. And I stopped growing it because I didn't need to. It's not my passion. People are like, you can get to 1,000 instructors. You can get to 5,000 instructors. I'm like, I would rather have the ones who are in my community and work with them deeper. So I help them build up their businesses, but on a wider scale. So I actually scaled out the people who were in our community. Instead of just teaching weekly classes, I taught them how to build a school fitness business where they can then have their own instructors working under them. And those people can shift from teaching classes to becoming a business owner of a kids fitness brand, that they don't have to show up every day, but they get paid when their instructors teach.
Right.
So that was my passion for the last 6 years. Now I'm back into like getting more instructors, expanding to new cities and new places. And kind of like going back to the original instructor trainings, rec leaders, like what I've been doing all week. It's been so much fun and meeting new people. So that is my ultimate focus right now. And the other businesses are taking more of like a side stance for now. We're just, it's life. So I like to bring that awareness too.
I love that. I just need to name that. As you speak about this, I get excited. Like as you're talking about it, I'm like, oh my God, that's so exciting. Like my mouth, I don't know, you see my smile is like getting bigger and bigger because I'm so excited for like you can just feel the excitement for what you're doing just ooze out of you. And like we're not even in the same country right now or same time zone, and I can feel it. I love that.
Yeah, it's my truth. This is what happens is when this is my truth because I live it. I've experienced it. and now I want other people to experience it. Like I understand that now. It comes with age, comes with experience, comes with wisdom. Before you launch a business, you're like, I can help you. And I'm like, no, I can help you. Like
Yeah.
what you can do, the transformations you can bring because you've had them within yourself. You've helped others have them. And now I feel more confident because I've helped so many people. And I know my power of helping people get to where they want to be, whether that's just starting to work with kids or actually build out a full business with it. Like I know I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Yeah.
Well, you definitely can feel it. The other thing that I get from you is like, how to look into someone's soul and just like point it out and be like, there, that's your awesome. Do it.
It is
love that.
Thank you for pointing that out. I will tell people that I can do that, but sometimes it scares them. They're like, please don't.
Don't look at me.
Look at my soul.
I can't help it. It's there.
Yeah, totally.
Well, anytime you want to look at my soul, I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Okay.
And you have, so thank you. Honestly, this is just such a thrill for me, this conversation that we're having right now. But with your reign as fitness professional, like I love all the things, big exciting thing. Like, do you have any announcements that you're sharing? Like, what's the future looking like for the rest of 23 and into 24 for you? Is there anything that you can share with us?
Honestly, like it's so funny. It's like the full circle. I am excited to meet people physically in person again and to start from the grassroots up. That was the cycle of my business. It's almost like a 7-year cycle where I started doing my instructor trainings myself, and then eventually I got a team of master trainers to do the training. So I didn't have contact for the last 3 years before the pandemic. My team of trainers ran all the trainings. I didn't get to meet instructors firsthand. And now that I'm back into it, like that's what's exciting for me now, is like people like going back to the basics. But I love it going back to the roots. Like I have a team of master trainers, they're still operating, but I'm putting myself back into those trainings because that is what I love the most. That is the place that I love to be. And so the announcements is like, look for in-person workshops in your community, or we also have an online instructor training course. And I'm just excited to meet people who want to work with kids, the adults who want to work with kids, and whether want to work, like I said, a few classes a week as a side hustle, or like build out a business. Like I am pumped to meet you and help you build that. Yeah.
I love that. It's so refreshing to hear you say that you were like at the forefront, then you went behind the scenes for a bit, and now you're back. Because I've seen so many times people build a business and they're like, well, I'm done with training, somebody else can do that, and they're just hanging out and wherever. Yep. I love that you're in there. Oh, yeah. Because that, to me, it just really shows your passion for it, and you're there for the heart-centered reasons.
I'm a teacher at heart. Like that is who I am. I'm here to be a teacher, capital T, whatever that means, whatever context it is. If I'm in a space and there's an opportunity for me to look into people's souls and help them get closer to something that they desire, that to me is the teaching. And it's not that I have the answers for them, but it's the facilitating of spaces for people to do that and accomplish that. That is the fulfillment. So, yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I would love to stay here and chat with you forever. Excuse me. But I want to be mindful of the time. So before we get into our lightning round of questions, is there anything else that you want to share or express that you haven't yet?
I want to wish you the most incredible year. I've said it a few times, but hear me, like everything that you are, everything you have to give. If anything, you're ever like, ooh, don't say it all, do it all. And then ask for what's beyond it. So everything that you can imagine, and then say, and then whatever else I can, leave room for what's the more to come, something even better that you can never imagine, because there's so much more greatness coming your way that you can't even dream of right now, in the next year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. And you just have to keep showing up fully prepared to receive it and being everything that you are, because your presence in this fitness industry is a gift, and it's permission to so many other people to step into their brilliance. So go forth and just be the light for them.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Melanie, I received that. I'm also going to put this clip on a t-shirt. tape it to my bathroom mirror so I can hear it every single morning. Thank you for that. I fully receive that. And it is my hope that I can, at the end of my reign, make you proud, and everyone else that experiences whatever comes out of me just, gets what they need. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for that. Okay. So while I'm letting that settle in, I want to ask you these. We only have 3 questions, and actually, this first one I'm rewording as because you inspired this. So this first question is: what makes your heart dance?
Ooh, great music, fun people, nature, and like awkward moments. Nothing makes me happier than like awkward moments.
Tell me one of your like most awkwardest moments that you can share on the podcast. Anything that comes to mind.
Oh, I don't know that there's any that comes to mind. I just love, like, like if someone gives a high five, but they're waiting for the handshake, so you like touch their boob, like just you're like, oh, that was like, I love pointing things out that are awkward. Just like we are humans, there's so much awkwardness.
Yes.
And people are just like more, like shifting away from that. I don't know, it's like shame, mortification, disappointment, whatever it is. Like whenever people can retract from those moments, I just love to I just think they're so funny. I think laughter can dissolve them. So I like to laugh at them.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I usually ask what makes your heart sing. And so with you, what makes your heart dance? Because I love that. It's the movement, right?
Totally.
What makes your heart heavy?
Ooh. Oh. Like unfairness, injustices. Like I am challenged by seeing and hearing of circumstances where any people, but any circumstance where people are being taken advantage of, and they systemically are unable to make change, because you can empower people to make a change. Like honestly, sometimes we're in systems and structures that they can't make change, right. And it makes me feel heavy, and it makes me feel angry. So I definitely have to settle with those.
Yeah, I mean, well, just like living on this planet right now is enough to do that. But our final question: where is your heart leading you these days?
My heart is leading me into slow places, slow nature, slow movement, slow conversations, slow connections, just slowing down and just being. No more hustling, no more things. It's just being, and that every moment is meant to be experienced as it is. Heaviness, lightness, the awkwardness, all of it, just like appreciating every single moment.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love you, Melanie. Honestly, okay, so I'm seeing in your hotel, I wish we were just like sitting on that bed, having a little snuggle.
Right.
Chatting heart to heart.
Right.
We definitely we'll make something happen. I'm going to definitely see you next year at CanFit Pro. But if we're in the same place at the same time between now and then, get into my arms and give me the biggest squeeze.
Absolutely. And I'm going to give you one virtually right now.
Oh, I love you so much.
Love you.
Thank you so much. So listeners, check out the show's notes, because all of Melanie's information is there, how you can get in touch with her on the Instagrams and the internet, all of that website stuff. And let us know what you think. If you're listening to this on the Spotify, there's a part that says, what do you think of this episode? Tell us how much you love us. And, Melanie, thank you again so much for being here. I love you so much. And we'll do this again soon.
Thank you so much. Love you.
The Living Spiritfully podcast is a Spiritful production. Executive producer, Paul Galloro. Co-producers, Claudia, Micco, and Catherine Stilo. A big thank you and much love to you, the Living Spiritfully community, for liking, subscribing, sharing, and supporting this podcast.